Greetings and salutations. Today we will be covering the case that captured Chicago's airwaves, the Max Headroom incident. On the fateful night of November 22nd, 1987, the airwaves of Chicago, Illinois became the stage for an unprecedented act of broadcast piracy. It was a night like no other, where television signals of two stations, WGN-TV and PBS member station WTW, fell victim to a nefarious intruder, leaving thousands of unsuspecting viewers completely surprised. Beginning at around 9:14 p.m. on November 22nd, 1987, the Chicago airwaves were plunged into a surreal mystery. As it appears, the airwaves of WGN-TV were intruded upon and fell victim to an enigmatic hacker who left viewers baffled in bewilderment. During the sports section of WGN-TV's 9 o'clock news, the initial intrusion unfolded. Screens across homes went dark for 15 suspenseful seconds before a figure emerged, wearing a Max Headroom mask and a pair of sunglasses. The mysterious persona swayed eerily in front of a rotating corrugated metal panel while attempting to mimic the Max Headroom backdrop. This was accompanied by a stackly and garbled buzzing sound. However, the intrusion would only last a shockingly short 20 seconds. It would be terminated abruptly, with the engineers altering the frequency, now linking the broadcast studio to the station's transmitter atop the John Hancock Center. Once everything was back to normal, WGN sports anchor Dan Rowan found himself just as confused as viewers were, stating, "Well, if you're wondering what happened, so am I." Attempting to use humor to make light of the gravity of the situation, Dan quipped that the news computer had taken off and gone wild. Afterwards, the broadcast continued, seamlessly picking up where the coverage had been interrupted by going over the Chicago Bears game. However, the mystery would not end with WGN-TV. At approximately 11:20 p.m., the mysterious Max Headroom impersonator would resurface, this time infiltrating a local PBS station, WTTW, during the airing of the Doctor Who serial Horror of Fang Rock. The distorted audio of this signal would add an extra layer to the enigma, as the masked figure would embark on a rather bizarre commentary. In the distorted tirade, the intruder referred to nerds and labeled WGN sportscaster Chuck Swirsky a frickin' liberal, all the while brandishing a can of Pepsi while uttering the slogan "Catch the Wave" and holding up a middle finger inside of what appeared to be a hollowed out adult toy. As things degenerated from there, the surreal journey included the impersonator singing "Your Love is Fading" while humming the theme song of the animated series Clutch Cargo, proclaiming "I still see the X," and then going on to talk about sharing dirty gloves with a brother and making references to the greatest world newspaper nerds. The crescendo of this event occurred when the figure began to partially expose their rear end. This was accompanied by a female figure in a French-made costume wielding a fly swatter. As bizarre as it is, it gets even stranger. While being spanked, the individual in the Max Headroom outfit cried out, "Oh no, they're coming to get me. Make it stop." The image would briefly fade into static, and after an interruption of about 90 seconds, viewers would be abruptly returned to their Doctor Who broadcast. The technicians at WTTW found themselves utterly powerless in the face of the mysterious signal takeover. With no engineers on duty at Sears Tower, attempts to counteract this intrusion ended up proving futile, only realistically ending when the signal hijackers decided to end things. Air director Paul Rizzo recalled the escalating stress as the content took a bizarre turn, lamenting his inability to intervene. The pirated broadcast concluded as abruptly as it had begun, leaving WTTW to answer a myriad of calls from viewers asking what the hell was going on, when in reality they had little to no answers to give. In the aftermath of this honestly insane incident, studio engineers were grappling with the belief that it was an inside job, leading to them launching an immediate search within the confines of the broadcasting domain, in particular looking for the masked intruder. However, their efforts proved futile, revealing that the broadcast was in fact a pre-recorded transmission originating from a third party at a separate location. As the echoes of this surreal intrusion reverberated, an unsettling realization dawned upon the investigators. It seemed that this was not an isolated incident, because another enigma seemed to shroud the mystery of the Max Headroom incident. waiting to unfurl its secrets and deepen the web of questions that seemed to engulf the city that night. Investigators would then focus on the statement that the figure had made a giant masterpiece for the greatest newspaper nerds, and the potential link provided by the statement about the glove when the figure exclaimed, "My brother is wearing one, but it's dirty. It's like you got bloodstains on it." As the curtains had fallen on this encounter, it seemed that the investigators found themselves in a web of questions, with each revelation only deepening the mystery surrounding the Max Headroom incident. The entire intrusion had been a perplexing blend of humor and disturbance, totaling in about 1 minute and 22 seconds. And it seems being timed at the same instance where there would be a lack of personnel was intentional. The investigation would soon then unveil a particular detail. The only existing copies of the hack were in the possession of Doctor Who fans who had been diligently recording the interruption on their VCRs. WGN and WTTW had seemingly no other evidence of the hack having existed. It seems the elusive mastermind behind the disruption would earn the moniker of TV video pirate due to this. And while many Chicagoans found the Max Headroom incident amusing, some were perplexed and others perturbed, while many harbored quite the amount of resentment for the unwelcome interruption in their TV viewing. Amidst the varied public reactions, the government's response was resolute. The FCC made public that they had devoted a large amount of resources to unmasking this enigmatic individual. An official statement from Phil Barford, an FCC spokesman, carried a stern warning. "I would like to inform anyone involved in this kind of thing that there's a maximum penalty of $100,000, 1 year in jail, or both, for committing said acts." The seriousness of the matter would be emphasized by Anders Jakom, a WTTW spokesman, who declared, "Illegal interference of a broadcast signal is a violation of federal law and shall be punished in kind." The investigative journey of the FCC led to a revelation that the hackers' methodology was as follows. Placing their own dish antenna strategically between the transmitter tower and the point of transmission allowed the hacker to disrupt the original signal with remarkable precision. Astonishingly, they achieved this feat without the need for expensive equipment, primarily relying on impeccable timing and a detailed knowledge of television signals. As a government agency delved even deeper, they honed in on a potential shooting location for the video. Background analysis led FCC agents to deduce that the footage likely originated from a roll-down door of a warehouse, meaning that the investigation had narrowed to a district where warehouses would have similar doors. However, as the hunt for Max Headroom intensified, the nation was left in suspense as the government seemingly floundered while deploying its investigative power aimlessly. The city would remain entangled in the aftermath of this mysterious disruption, eagerly awaiting the unraveling of secrets concealed by the Max Headroom incident, and the potential capture of the individual who dared breach the airwaves. As the saga continued, a complex web of questions and clues would mount. As a pursuit for the elusive culprit forged ahead, the FCC would meticulously work to assemble the pieces of the perplexing Max Headroom incident, while asking the critical question: who was the figure behind the mask? Rumors like whispers would float around, tantalizing the curious and leading authorities to a myriad of dead ends. Yet most of these speculations would quickly be dismissed, some even not being dignified with a proper investigation. The perpetrator seemed to have vanished into an abyss, one which even the full brunt of the American federal government and their investigative resources could not suss out. Over the passage of the years, the echoes of the Max Headroom incident have reverberated in forums and Reddit threads, and a handful of names of potential suspects would emerge. Foremost amongst these contenders was Eric Foner, renowned as a creator of Shave St. John, a fictional model with a haunting backstory of disfigurement and reconstruction from mannequin parts. Admirers of Forerunner's surreal creations noted the striking artistic parallels between his bizarre, campy videos and the Max Headroom hackers' disconcerting footage. Masks and unconvincing prostheses served as common threads linking the two. However, those intimately acquainted with Forerunner offered a perspective, considering the link tenuous at best. His bandmates attested to his limited experience with broadcast communications, asserting that he was unlikely to have even been in Chicago during the hack. Despite this, they acknowledged that he potentially would be amused at being the suspect of such rumors. Tragically, the chance to shed light on these speculations was lost when Foreigner succumbed to internal bleeding in 2010 due to the culmination of a protracted battle with alcoholism, leaving naught but lingering questions about his involvement in the Max Headroom incident. The legacy of the Max Headroom incident has transcended the confines of a singular event, as it now stood as a testament to the audacity of those who dared breach the airwaves, leaving an indelible mark on the landscape of broadcast communications. This intrusion, though not the first of its kind, echoed throughout time as a precursor of subsequent incidents would blur the line between the viral and the real. Investigations into the elusive hacker continued, and the quest for answers waved into the fabric of the broader legacy left by the Max Headroom incident. As the shadows of speculation lingered, the tapestry of broadcast intrusions would continue to become more and more complicated, as the investigation would unravel further with the emergence of a forerunner to the Max Headroom incident, an enigmatic Captain Midnight HBO broadcast signal interruption, and it seems it might have been a precursor or even a harbinger to the Max Headroom incident. On the night of April 27, 1986, during an airing of Falcon and Snowman, Captain Midnight seized control of the airwaves, injecting his own message into the broadcast. This, it appears, was an act of rebellion, fueled by disenfranchisement with the network pricing directions, and it unfolded for an unprecedented duration of nearly 5 minutes before HBO managed to regain control. While viewers may have perceived it as a minor annoyance, the implications for the US government were rather profound. In the era of Cold War tensions, the military implications of amateur satellite hacking were a cause for concern. A hack involving or targeting naval communications and or spy satellites monitoring the Soviet Union could potentially jeopardize national security by impeding the transmissions of vital information and compromising state secrets. The FCC, recognizing the gravity of the situation, launched a swift investigation. The response would be rather overwhelming, with 200 confessions flooding in from hacking enthusiasts eager to claim credit for Captain Midnight's audacious act. However, unlike the Max Headroom incident, the hacker's real identity would be found through meticulous analysis. John R. McDougall, a former operations engineer at the Central Florida Teleport Uplink Station, emerged as the individual responsible for hacking HBO. And for the severity of the crime, it seems that the government was rather lenient, only giving him a $5,000 fine, probation, and a 1-year suspension from his amateur radio license. The repercussions of Captain Midnight's disruption beyond his individual case seemed to be mirrored by the Max Headroom incident less than 2 years later. However, due to the Captain Midnight hack involving a satellite, it had been elevated to a felony. In the present day, while signal intrusions are far more challenging to execute, occasional successful attempts serve as reminders of what once was. In 2007, New Jersey viewers innocently watching Handy Manny on Playhouse Disney found themselves unexpectedly exposed to explicit content. Similarly, in 2009, a disgruntled Comcast employee managed to interrupt the Super Bowl for Tucson viewers with a 30-second burst of inappropriate material. The consequences for such acts were severe. Yet, amidst the landscapes of telecommunications hacks, the Max Headroom incident endures as the gold standard. Its content bewildering, its motives shrouded in mystery, and the perpetrator forever eluding capture. Even as the saga of broadcast intrusions continues, the mystery of the Max Headroom incident defies the quest for answers. The intricacies of the Max Headroom broadcast intrusion remain shrouded due to technical prowess and the clandestine motives of the individual, creating a cryptic puzzle that has eluded resolution for decades. The audacious act was executed through the calculated manipulation of broadcast technology, a more powerful microwave transmission strategically aimed at the broadcast towers of WGN-TV and WTTW. This cunning move triggered a capture effect, a feat considered formidable with the technology of the landscape in 1987. The window for such exploits closed with the advent of the digital era, marking a transition in the technological arsenal of broadcast intrusions. With the exception of particular occurrences, experts concur that a stunt of such scale and scope in the current day would require an extensive amount of technical expertise, but also a substantial amount of transmission power. However, back then, the origin of the pirate broadcast was akin to a ghost in the machine, likely laying in wait within the line of the signal of both station broadcast towers, waiting till just the right moment, perched atop the structures of downtown Chicago. As the waves of the transmission infiltrated the airwaves, no claim of responsibility emerged. Speculation was like wisps of smoke, lingering around theories suggesting an inside job, or potentially an incident orchestrated by a disgruntled employee or former insider of WGN. Alternatively, whispers suggested the involvement of Chicago's underground hacker community, leaving the true architects of the intrusion concealed in the city's urban labyrinth. The official law enforcement investigations into the aftermath and subsequent unofficial probes, inquiries, and online speculation over the years has failed to identify the motives or identities of the elusive hackers. In the aftermath of this breach, the FCC's official words echoed through the corridors of consequence, stating that perpetrators faced a maximum fine of $10,000 and up to a year in prison. However, time played its part in unraveling the saga. The 5-year statute of limitations would expire quickly in 1992, veiling the perpetrators in a cloak of legal immunity, as the prospect of criminal punishment for their identities is now null and void. Even should they be found, there is little that could be done against them. Beyond the confines of the immediate incident, the Max Headroom intrusion left an indelible mark on the cultural landscape. Through the fleeting public eye, it reverberated through the corridors of media, becoming an enduring reference point, aptly coined as an influential cyberpunk hacking type. The first echoes of the impact manifested when WMAQ-TV, another Chicago station, humorously inserted clips of the hacking into a newscast during Mark Gallancero's sports highlights, stating, "A lot of people thought it was real. Prior to cutting into the broadcast, we got all kinds of calls about it," recalled Gallancero, illustrating the lasting resonance of the perplexing intrusion. In the mysterious meanderings of the Max Headroom incident, a cryptic conundrum continues to captivate curiosity, cleverly concealed in the folds of history. The elusive hijackers, like shadowy specters, skillfully slip through the seeths of scrutiny, leaving an enduring enigma etched into the annals of broadcast lore. The technical tapestry of their transmission, donning a daring dance with the airwaves, remains a testament to their clandestine cunning. As we conclude the convoluted chronicles of the legacy of the Max Headroom incident, a lingering legend laced with deceit and trickery, its impacts both cultural and cryptic echo through the corridors of hacking folklore. The perplexing pirate broadcast, a particular puzzle, persists as a paradigm of intrigue, its perpetrators perpetually poised beyond the reach of revelation. In the vast vaults of unsolved mysteries, the Max Headroom incident stands as a lasting testament to the tantalizing twists and turns of technological trickery and enigmatic exploits. If you remained with me until the end, I thank you, and I do hope you stay tuned and subscribe for more content.